Greetings. Hi, everyone. This is my daughter, Allison. This is everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Allison and I are trying to coordinate being outside and doing our Zoom classes and recording and so on and so forth. So we've been saying hello to each other's peeps. So this is her saying hello to you guys.
Hello.
And she's got the lovely flower, you see. So we're trying to enjoy nature as it comes. Alrighty.
Well, I'm out then.
Bye, sweetie. Have a good walk.
Bye. Nice to meet you guys, I guess.
Maybe she'll get to meet you in person one of these days, or you guys will get to meet her. All right. So anyway, I thought it was time to pop in and give you another state of the economy because there's been a lot of stuff going on. I thought we could just kind of unpack a little bit of that for you so at least I can keep up with you. I hesitated with everything going on. I know we have designated class time, but I hesitated to put a Zoom requirement out there for you because this was just too chaotic. I mean, you'd sign up for face-to-face and then it turned out to be online and you weren't expecting that and neither was I. And so this just seemed the easiest way was to integrate you into what I do with my other online classes. But I did want us to be able to go over because all this stuff is going on and it's good to keep track of it. It's good to make some sense out of it. Besides, this is stuff that affects you in a big way, and I want you to be able to feel comfortable about it. So I took some notes today over some things going on, and I thought we could go over those. But first, let me mention that registration is open for summer classes. If you run into some trouble, now all summer classes, the USG has made an announcement, which you're probably already aware of. The USG has made an announcement that summer classes will be also held online. So right now, GHC is migrating, they're just turning everything online. Okay, so we're working through that. So if you run into some trouble getting registered, do not worry about it. Don't fret. Don't think it's a problem that's specific to you or anything like that. It's just that we're getting all these changes in order and it may take a minute. So just try again, contact your advisor. You can contact me if you need to, and I'll track down somebody to help you, or I'll try to help you myself, whatever we can do. But just make sure that just don't worry about it. But if you want to sign up for summer classes and you run into issues with that, there could be a good reason for that that has nothing to do with you. Also, I'm going to post in D2L, one of our wonderful staff members has found a list of free Wi-Fi that's in public library parking lots. So if you're having trouble with your Wi-Fi, there is some available. You can go to the parking lot in some public libraries. So there's a list for that, and I'm going to put that on D2L. I will put it with the supplemental info right where I have the links for Khan Academy and what is the other one? Econ Mentor. So I'll put it with that stuff. And then my this of course is on supplemental video, but I'll put that stuff somewhere else because I'll probably leave that for future classes as well. But there is that available for you in case you're having Wi-Fi trouble. Okay, so I need to get through so that Allison can come to her class at 5. So I'm going to get going with that. All right, so first, let's talk about the stock market for just a minute. The stock market had been going down. It had been of concern to everyone and freaking people out. And I told y'all just to calm down, relax, and go with it, right? Well, it is up today. It is up. It is going back up. And the reason why it's going back up is because globally, where coronavirus had hit first, overseas, they're starting to decline. The cases are declining, which one reason that I heard why Italy had so many is because they have the highest number of elderly population. That's one of their highest demographics, in the world. So that's why they had so many cases of it. But globally it's declining. So as that is declining, what that tells us that yes, we're in the thick of it here. We're at our peak. I think they said. I think they're saying that most geographical areas are progressing differently this way, but they said the United States as a whole, most of the places we're at our peak of cases, but globally it's declining. That means that people are seeing, okay, this will end. All right, we're seeing it. The places where it started ahead of us, they're starting to get over it. So therefore, things will end. It will end, and when it ends, we'll come out of it. So with that in mind, businesses, and they can count up and they can see, okay, here's where it started, and it's starting to end now. So they kind of get a time frame. That takes the fear, some of the uncertainty out, and taking the uncertainty also takes some of the fear out of it. Okay, so uncertainty is what causes a lot of economic distress. We talked about that in class. So uncertainty is causing the economic distress. It's going down, so therefore the fear will go down and stocks will go back up. Okay. Also, another reason why is that right now we have our government relief programs are getting started now. That's been voted in. It's being administered as quick as they can. And so since that's getting started, that's giving us some hope. That, coupled with seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, is going to give us some hope. As we get hopeful, we will feel more secure and the economy will rebound. Okay, so that's what's starting. So the best advice, just keep, if you own stocks, if you invest in stocks, just keep sitting still. Don't panic. Don't necessarily sell it unless you were planning on doing that anyway, unless you have another reason for some tax write-off or take a loss in some taxes or whatever. That's up to you and your broker. Otherwise, just kind of sit still on it. Sit still on it and don't panic, and just watch it go back up. Some businesses are going to use this to reorganize. I was thinking about Macy's. I've been reading a lot about Macy's over the past year or so, and Macy's they were saying their online business is pretty vibrant. They're doing really well with their online businesses. However, not so much their in-store businesses. People aren't going out to the stores. Now, that's a trend that we've seen happening, and we talked about that in class as well, that online sales there's more of those than most businesses are doing better online than they are in their stores. So Macy's has been closing some stores. They've been trying to figure out what to do for this, and what they came up with is they have decided I think they're using this opportunity to reorg. So they furloughed a bunch of their employees. They're using this opportunity to reorg, and a lot of businesses will do the same. So this is a good excuse, if you will, if you were trying to shorten your workload or lighten your workload or do some changes. This is the way to do it. Now, not all of those, oh goodness, I saw a bug. Not all of those workers will be completely gone. Some of them will be moved to the warehouses and things like that. Because from what I understand, a lot of the businesses, they are continuing to do, or most of them are continuing to sell online, and so they're managing to get some money coming in with that. We'll talk more about that in a moment. I wanted to mention a hedge fund guy who had made a good bit of money in that. His name is Bill Ackman, and he was freaking out and panicking last week, as a matter of fact. He was freaking out and panicking and saying he was Chicken Little. Oh, good grief, where's that bug? Did y'all see that? It's like looking in a mirror on the screen, but I thought I saw a bug. Oh, it is. It's a gnat. Oh, they're getting on my nerves. Okay. Ooh, you can see him on the camera. All right. So yeah, he was panicking and freaking out and talking about like Chicken Little going around, the sky is falling, and all this stuff. Well, this week, that crazy fool is bragging about how much money he's made off of this and how much money he's making now that things are starting to turn around. And I'm like, we thought that Jim Cramer guy was crazy, but he's nothing compared to this guy. So yeah, don't listen to him. But anyway, point being, people don't know. So if somebody's panicking and the experts are telling you, present company excluded, of course, and the experts are telling you to freak out and to carry on and to sell everything and go bury your money in the backyard, don't listen to them, okay? Don't listen to them. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the relief package. Now, the relief package, just put it in perspective, because a lot of people are saying, this is a big package and it may help, but the government, can they afford it, blah, blah, blah. It is only 10% of our GDP, okay? So this package is only 10% of our GDP. I'm saying that to give you, we've talked about it before, but just take a grasp of how big is our economy, okay? How huge, how massive is our economy that this big package, this big relief package is still only going to be 10% of our GDP, okay? And it's well worth it to save the economy from having all the dire results that they say are going to happen, okay? So we're in good shape with that. It's a lot of dollars because 10% of our GDP is a lot. I mean, our GDP is $20 trillion plus then some, but it's not as much as a percentage. And some countries are doing more. Germany, their relief package is 28%. They're the highest in the world. Italy's is 21% of theirs. Now, granted, their GDPs are smaller than ours, so in actual numbers, it's still less money than what we're spending. But we have the gain to back it up, okay? So that's how things are going. For unemployment, so here's some things for you to know. If you have lost your job, you need to file for unemployment, apply, and keep applying, okay? Because there's a lot of people who are going to be applying for this. Now, this unemployment, it's increasing. They're giving you an extra $600 a week above what you would normally get. And the goal there, now normally we would say that's to increase C, increase I. What they're trying to do right now is just keep it constant. Okay, so don't be afraid to spend that money if this is you. All right, now the tendency, the propensity would be to hang on to that cash, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, don't be irresponsible. If you think you might need it, then by all means, but don't be afraid to buy your groceries and things like that with it, okay? So you're getting an extra $600 a week. But keep applying because there's going to be a lot of people applying. The offices are going to be just staggered with processing all of this. So don't give up, okay? And don't feel like it's hopeless. Just stay consistent, and we're all in this together. That's the mantra that I'm going around. Flexible, grace and mercy. We're all in this together. All those things, okay? All right, same thing if you have a small business. Now they're giving small business relief loans. Apply and keep applying. Check in and be patient because a lot of businesses are applying for this of all sizes, okay? So it's not just small businesses. For example, let's talk about Disney for a minute. Disney has furloughed some of their employees, and that looked bad, and that caused a lot of people to be troubled about the economy. However, there's a reason why. There's a reason why Disney did this. So I'm telling you this to tell you that things aren't always as they seem, and don't always look at things as a reason to panic. Okay? So Disney furloughed their employees. Well, here's why. If the employees are furloughed, all right, if Disney continues to pay them for as long as they can. And big companies, they have big expenses. They run into trouble too. Small companies are going to run into trouble faster, but big companies, there's only so long they'll be able to pay employees, you know. And at the time, we didn't know how long it's going to last. Now we have more of an idea. We can make some plans. But in the meanwhile, so Disney furloughed. If they furlough with this relief package and the extra unemployment that's coming around, then their employees are eligible for that. All right, if they're not getting a check from Disney, they're eligible to get this money from the government. That allows Disney to take their cash, hang on to it, and have a job for them when they come back. All right, so there is a method behind that madness. See, there's a thought process behind that. And so I don't want you to think when these things are happening that they're all bad, okay, or that it's a dire situation. Just hang in there. And also, this allows Disney but by furloughing their employees, they're keeping them on their books. So these loans that are coming, these business relief loans that are coming in, part of the requirement. Now you can get the loans, but you don't have to pay them back if you retain 80%, I think it's 80%, somewhere between 80 and 90% of your workload. So which means you're going to have these people, you're going to continue to give them a job to offer them employment after this is all over with, okay, when you open back up and take them back to work. So this is a win-win for everybody, Okay, so this is the thought process that's going on behind that. So if you hear of things like this and it sounds like it's bad news, just realize, remember the story that I told you, those of you who I told you about Coach. If I didn't tell you about it, then, I'll tell you at some point. Yeah, I'm the comic relief today, aren't I, with that bug that's bothering me. He must love my perfume. I'm wearing grapefruit cologne, so he must love that. Anyway, where was I? Oh, okay. So there's something going on to it. There's a method to the madness. Remember the story with Coach closing their stores? There was a reason why they did that. Okay, and hopefully we'll get to talk more about that later, and I may circle back around to that, but let's keep going so that I can be done in time for Allison to do her class, because 3 people working at home, all of them doing conference calls and Zoom meetings and all this stuff, we have to find a corner, and me and Allison fight over the outdoors, so here we are. Okay. So businesses might be running. Now, if you do have some extra cash, if you're continuing to draw a paycheck, if you live with your parents and they're continuing to draw a paycheck, that's wonderful. Don't be afraid to spend that money. Let's support our small businesses. There are a lot of businesses I've noticed who are offering sales that don't normally offer these sales, and they're doing that and they're very transparent about it. Lily Pulitzer, for one. And I'm wearing a new pair of Lily Pulitzer shorts now, because normally I would buy stuff like that when we go to Florida and things like that. But I wouldn't have bought any this time of year. I already bought it at their sale in January for whatever I'm going to do this summer. But they offered a sale. They normally have a sale twice a year. They're having another sale and they were quite transparent about it. They said, we want to continue to pay our employees while they're not in the stores, while our stores are closed. We need to have more money coming in to do so. So we're going to offer this sale. If you can see fit to spend some money in our business, please do, and that'll help us pay our employees. So I bought some things. The sale was great. There were some things I would love to own, so I did, and that helps them out. Vineyard Vines is another one. They offered a sale where they had just done a friends and family sale, and then they did another one. And they're doing that because they said they want to continue to pay their employees. Everlane is a small startup clothing company. Same thing. They offered a sale that they never do to do the same thing. They've already had to furlough some employees, and they would like to hold that to a minimum. So a lot of these are doing this. Oh, there's another store, Ellsworth and Ivy. There was a sweater I wanted there, and it never went on sale, so I just have never bought it. One day I was looking, it popped up in one of my apps that I have that checks that stuff, and they were offering a sale. Same thing. And then the discount code is "in this together." So I really like that. So I bought the sweater, but it's a win-win for everybody. They get some money coming in to pay their employees. And then, things of that, we get a good discount, so it's a win-win. So if you are able to spend responsibly, I had to go through mine and say, okay, now what of this do I really need, right? So if you can spend responsibly to help these businesses, it's good for the economy. You get a deal, and it'll help them to pay their employees. So those are some things that are going on in the business community today. Also, if you can... if you can continue to support the small businesses, if you can eat some takeout on restaurants occasionally, do so. Pardon me. Please do so. We want to make sure we have a good economy to come back to when all this is over with. So make sure that you do that. The grocery stores are running out of stuff, and restaurants are begging for our businesses. Now, if you are someone if you're worried about germs or things like that, by all means, do what makes you comfortable, but you can certainly maybe get a gift card or something like that. So there are other ways to help there. Now, some businesses, I'm going to say they're not taking any aid because they don't want to go with the restrictions that the government has put on it. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. That shows that they're not worried, right? That shows that they're not worried, that they think all of this is going to end at some point, and so that's a good sign. So you can look at these as indicators that things are not always going to be this way, okay? That the folks who track this stuff and know more about it than some of us do are okay. All right, so that's good news. All right, Okay, so let's talk about startups for a minute. Let's see, did I skip something? Yeah, let's talk about startups for a minute. Oh, thank you.
Careful.
I'm careful. Look, now I have a flower too. I'm going to put mine, let's see.
Not sure if it'll stay.
I'm not sure if it will. I'm going to put it here where I can enjoy the...
You want me to bring your bobby pin?
No, that's okay. I'll get it in a
Turn into
minute.
a hair tutorial.
Hair tutorial, yes. Look at that. See, I can... Oh, wait. See, I'm seeing a mirror image here. Okay. Oh, it's beautiful. Those are some of my favorite flowers. I love those tulips. Okay. All right, so let's talk about startups. Now, they have something called, with startups, that's called the Great Unwinding is what they're calling now. And it's because some startups are not, they're going to be the ones to do the worst in this. And that's a shame. Not all of them will. They do have this government program that's going on. They have these business loans. They won't necessarily have to pay them back. So, you know, it's not like they're all going to be in trouble after this. But the problem with startups, and here's what was going on in the economy, with these startups, the mantra was grow fast or die. Okay, grow fast or die was the goal. Everybody was just flying through this and getting started. What was going with that, what happened is that a lot of them did grow too fast. Look at places like WeWork, which is a very interesting story to look at if you want to. And I may do some things like that for your extra credit, so keep your eyes out. But actually we may do something on startups. Okay, so that may be, I see something coming here. So we may do something on startups. But WeWorks is one of those that grew too fast. They kept telling him, grow fast, get crazier, all this stuff. And so he did, and then it grew past the point, and they were unprepared for bad times. Now, WeWorks is a complete different story, but a lot of these were not prepared for something like this to happen. So what's the lesson learning from that? To grow slow. Slow and steady wins, just like the tortoise. It's not sexy to do it that way, but it is long lasting, all right? What is it he said? Tom Cruise said in A Few Good Men, he said it's not, no, it was The Firm, I'm sorry. He said it's not sexy, but it has teeth. So that's it. This isn't sexy, but it has teeth. Something here, the venture capital firms, the ones that come out and help startups in times like this, they're hanging on to their money. They're keeping it close. SoftBank is one. It's a Japanese venture capital group that has started many, had many hands in some startups like that. They're hanging on to their money. They're keeping it close. They want to see what's going to stay, what has staying power and what doesn't. So this is like the Great Unwinding. They're weeding out some of the ones that may not have staying power. Some of them do. Some of them got off to a rocky start, financially speaking, but they made it. They managed, or they merged with a different group or something like that, or they added some product lines that up their customer base or things like that. So right now we're weeding out. That's okay. If you'll remember, or if you studied, this happened in the 90s, what they call the dot-coms. Same thing there. Everybody was getting a dot-com everything, and all these internet businesses were starting up, and they had to weed out some of them. Not all of them could hang around. Not all of them had staying power. So that's what's going on now. This is not always a bad thing. It seems bad when you see your friends going out of business, but that does not always mean, you know, your friend can't stay in business without customers anyway, all right? And perhaps it's not that the business is gone forever. Perhaps they just need to revamp what they're doing, just tweak their product line a little bit. Some advice for startups, okay? Here's some advice. Here's some good advice. If you have a business, you know someone who has a business, you want to see if these businesses can hang around, or if you want to start a business, I wouldn't advise doing that in the next week or so. But if you're planning to, here is some advice to make sure you stick around. For one thing, cut spending as much as possible. You want to spend as little as possible. Okay, and there are ways to cut corners now. There's a ton of ways to cut corners now more than ever. So cut your spending as much as possible, which is why, unfortunately, a lot of that has to do with labor costs. Okay, but look into these government things, and I'll help you if you need some help with that. But look into these government things, because there are some ways you can do what Disney did, furlough, let your employees get some money from the government, and then, they'll still be there at the end of the day. So let's take a look at that, because most businesses that furlough their employees, they are planning on bringing those folks back. All right, not all, but most. Okay. Lower the prices on your products if you can. Do what these companies are doing that are running sales. I've bought some stuff I might not have normally bought this time of year if it hadn't been for that. Now, it doesn't mean I'm spending irresponsibly. It just means that, for one thing, we had some trips planned that got canceled. So I had a little bit of extra cash. These sales cropped up. You can do stuff like that. Okay, we're not going out to the movies and things like that, so we've got a little bit, everybody's got maybe a little extra cash. I'm not spending on gas, which is kind of a shame because gas prices are low. So low, so spend responsibly, but lowering prices on your products is good. Remember the law of demand. The law of demand. If the price goes down, quantity demanded goes up. You're going to get customers to shop with you, but lowering your prices will draw them in. If you have some fixed costs that you can renegotiate, maybe a lease, leases, any other type of fixed cost that you have. If you're paying extra for something that you're not using because your business is closed right now, maybe you can work out something with that. I was just noticing when I was subtracting our YMCA fees, and I thought, well, I don't even know if they're open or not. And I don't go. I run in my neighborhood, but my husband does. So I thought, well, we need to check and see because that might be something to push pause on. On the other hand, we don't want them to go out of business either. So, that's something to think about. But if you're a business, a small business, that's something you can do. You can work out something with your landlord and try to figure that out to give you a little bit of relief so that they can stay open. Your landlord doesn't want to look for another tenant in this, after this is over. So they're going to want to work with you. And there also may be some government relief for them as well that they can look into. So you guys, work together with your landlord on that, and then check into whatever government assistance is available. There is some dollars still available from Capital Funds Group. They're just being a little bit more prudent with it. Now that's a good sign. Okay, so they may be weeding out, but they're not shutting it down entirely. That's another good indicator for the economy that people see this stuff to wrap up quickly and they think we can weather the storm. So all the stuff you're hearing about people saying, oh, the sky is falling, the end is near, don't. Okay, pay no attention to that. It's over dramatizing, and like I said, these folks want to go down in history as being the first one to call it, even if they're going to be the one to cause it. And some people would rather just get their names in the books as opposed to doing what's best for the world at large. So pay no attention to them. All right? They're just trying to be dramatic and sell newspapers and all that stuff. Let's be more positive, because a positive outlook is what's going to get the economy back on track. Okay, really quickly, a couple of other things to curb your anxiety. Something fun I heard about. Psychologists are advising watching some far-fetched horror movies that would never happen. Some of those old ones, like old Vincent Price movies or something, but something that would never happen, not Contagion. Okay? Now, if you can handle it, watch Contagion. It's actually a really good movie, a little too close to home for this. But if you are anxious, watch some of those old crazy horror movies, like zombie movies or things like that, things that aren't going to happen. My daughter and I, Allison and I, are catching up on some. We've watched The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and that one I highly, highly recommend. It's really good. Very funny. That one we've loved. We've been watching a lot of Community. So just some shows we've never gotten around to. So we're preferring the lighthearted stuff. That's what we're watching. But these horror movies, I thought that was interesting. So you might want to give that a try. And then when will we return to work? When will we return to work? When will things return to normal? Well, for one thing, we're probably going to end up with somewhat of a new normal. There might be some tweaking there. For example, once all this starts to wind down, we're still doing online classes this summer. Fingers crossed we'll get back in the classroom in the fall. But, we may have a new normal, or things may change. That'll be all right. We'll manage, right? We'll figure it out. We don't have all the data yet to know when to return to work. We're watching what happens in other countries. We're watching them wind down. But, we're still gathering data. We don't know yet. There will probably be tiers or different levels of returning, depending on geography, which areas seem to get things going and stuff. So just, we don't know yet, but we're working on the data for that. And then here's something Italy is doing that we may end up doing here. I don't know if we can do this or not because we're so big. But what Italy is doing is they're testing people's blood. There's certain antibodies that are resistant to coronavirus. If you are someone who has those antibodies, you are cleared to return. You are getting cleared to return to work. We may do stuff like that here. There's some vaccines. There are some other different treatments that are actually pretty far along. So we may do that. So there is some hope. There's some things going on, and the situation is not as bleak. Now, I know you may not trust me on that because you know that I'm a positive person. However, I would be honest with you. Okay, if I thought things were dire and that you should hunker down and be worried, I would tell you because I don't want to see you guys have bad things happen to you. Okay, so you can trust me when I tell you I don't think it's going to be that bad. Now, if you are someone, like I said, who is suffering financial distress, if you have sickness or sickness in your family, if you've lost your job, if you have sickness, I hope that you're getting good medical care. If you have lost your job, you're facing financial hardship, then check into these government programs. Check with the local Chamber of Commerce. There is some help that's available there in terms of food and things like that. They had sent me a list of some things, different places. Check with Student Support Services at Georgia Highlands. We have a food pantry, and I'm sure they can make arrangements for you to go in and get some food if you need it. Okay, so, and if you need help, let me know. You can message me privately. You can email me. My email is private, and I will do what I can to find some help for you, okay? Otherwise, if that is not you, or if you are just get some good rest. Take advantage of this time to get some rest. I mean, I'm waking up without an alarm these days. We're getting plenty of rest. We're enjoying family movie nights. We're watching these comedies, different things like that. It was my birthday this weekend, and it wasn't half bad. We got a takeout steak dinner, which was really good. I got to pick the movie, and my hubby got me a birthday cake. So, you can make the best out of things. And it actually was one of the better birthdays I've had. So, stick with it. So just kind of making the best out of things. Otherwise, just know that I love you all very much. I miss you. I finally did get some toilet paper, so I can't say I miss you more than toilet paper, but I miss you more than going to the movies. How about that? And going out. I do miss y'all more than that, and I wish I could see you all and just give you a big hug, but can't do that. So anyway, enjoy. Have a great rest of your week. I'm here if you need me. And otherwise, just keep a lookout for extra credit and things like that. That's it. I guess the next thing you'll have coming up, don't forget your homework is due still the same at the end of April. And you'll have a test coming up soon. I'm unsure on the dates, but check D2L for that. Okay? And otherwise, I'll see you later. Bye, guys.